let's think of the yesterday's societal values, the unwritten rules, the moral codes, the ethical standards of the families of yesterday, the societal values of yesterday, and what we have switched on to become the standard of our values today. What did we switch? Welcome to the Switchboard. Today, we're going to be discussing this very critical issue and aspect of our society as a people, as individuals, because they say the family is the bedrock of every society. And so once we switch in the family in terms of our values, ultimately becomes what the society is. Today, I have some very awesome, delectable people in the studio that will be doing this with me. We have a criminologist in the house. We have an English expert in the house. So, without wasting much of our time, I'd like to introduce our special guest in the house today. Okpe is a very super amazing gentleman, a criminologist. Hi, Okpe.
Hello, good day to you.
It's nice to have you.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here.
We waited for this day and here it is. So, welcome. I know they say ladies first, but I'm saving the best for the last. And so, you never can be too sure when you meet a girl, a young lady who keeps a very low coach. You're not sure what you're expecting when you see her. All right. Hi, Agozie.
Hi.
Agozie is I don't even know how to describe her, to be honest. Whether she's a content creator or a linguist or a creative artist, I really don't know. But I know she has a very deep insight into a lot of things that we were going to be talking about today. As well as Okpe. Okpe can look at you and say, this guy's ways are not pure. You know how criminologists behave and all that. So this with this amazing people today, we're going to be looking at this topic and make sure that we look at it from all possible angle. What have we switched as a people that has made our moral code change? Has it changed for the better, or yesterday's moral codes were good for us? So let me shoot my shot. Ladies first, that's what they say.
And like you're remembering
yeah. So forgive me. So let's do that. Ladies first now. So Agozie, what do you think our values were before? So family values, I mean, what were the general acceptable family standard before?
Our values were a lot of things. It's just not maybe one thing.
Okay.
Don't do this.
Don't take food from that uncle. Don't go there.
From a stranger.
Don't cry when you are
flogged. I can't even remember most of them now, but I know there were plenty, a lot of things that you should do and you shouldn't do.
So,
a lot of them.
Okay, has that changed now?
Well, I like to look at values from certain sects. So what I mean by sects are there are moral values, religious values, tribal values, and all sorts of stuff like that. So generally, I'll say things have changed. We have certain values that remain, but if 70 or 75 has changed out of 100, I think we can say it has changed. So
that's a pass mark. That's the A, right?
Exactly.
So if you have A, I mean, what else?
Well, exactly. So
because it looks like you have a different opinion about that.
With what he said, I don't disagree. Yes, a lot has changed.
A lot has changed.
Some are still intact, but a whole lot
has changed.
Yeah.
Is it changing because we switched the board to accepting the new standard, or the new standard became because we switched the board of what we used to do? Which is it?
It switched because of what it used to be. Like, people want things to change. They don't want things to still be what it used to.
Why is that?
Because of a lot of things.
You're speaking in parables now.
I'm not speaking in parables.
Okay, so could you explain, please?
So I believe that just like there was a time when killing of twins was a thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
At some point it stopped because killing of twins meant that when a woman gave birth to twins 2 times, that meant that you were going to kill 4 of her children, and that was really, really bad. So it had to stop.
Was it bad for the society at that time?
Maybe not for the society, but it was even bad for the society, but
How
they
is
couldn't.
that? But the society allowed it. Now the people that are killing these twins, who were they?
The thing. It's the society, and that's what I'm saying now. They didn't realize how bad it was, or maybe they knew, but the fear of changing it they became used to it so much so that they could not change it. So as time evolved, the new people, as in children being born, realize that, oh, this thing that has been happening is not actually good. What does it do to the families of these people that lose these children?
So
The sadness it causes and everything. So they decided that, oh, this can't be a thing anymore. I'm just using it as
an example.
Yes.
And quite valid example, I must
This
say.
shouldn't be a thing anymore because it's hurtful to the people, that the main victims. Or because that time it wasn't like the parents of these children actually wanted those children to go, but because that is what the society has said, they let go. So at some point it had to change. It changed.
Okay, I mean, I hear you. That's also very possible. That change is almost like welcome, because if you were born into that family, so maybe you're the first or the second or the third child and all that, and your younger ones who came after you were a set of twins, and you knew they were killed because they were twins. I'm not sure if you become when you grew up in the society, you will do everything to protect your wife and your family from that happening.
Exactly.
But there's still a but, because there's some people, tradition is passed on. There's some people who still believe for the next generation of that twins killing, because I'm sure that twins killing did not start from our parents or our forefathers' generation. It started from somewhere, and people were carrying it on. So as time moved on, people were looking at it from a different perspective.
From my perspective, okay, we have to first understand the notion and the ideology behind what crime is, and behind what we consider an offense. Okay, so
criminology has spoken.
When let me go back.
Criminologist is talking, so let's listen now.
Genesis of the human being. When the whole world started, yes, the first person to commit what we considered crime was Adam and Eve, when they lied to God, and then the murder between Cain and Abel. But in society, there has to be collective agreement on what is considered criminal or what is considered right or wrong. There are things we do in this day and age that we consider right or wrong, maybe based on exposure or education or growth, which might have not been wrong necessarily then, based on their understanding or based on their religious beliefs. So when we look at this perspective of the killing of twins, in this day and age, it's a wrong thing, right? It's a wrong thing. But we also have to look at it from their perspective.
Okay.
Because they didn't have the education, they didn't have the. If you remember the whole, when the killing of twins stopped, the person that pushed that agenda was not in Nigeria.
Yes.
Yeah.
So she came with a different
mentality and
ideology. The people were not there. There's no recording, but definitely the people that pushed against it, like, this is our tradition.
Yes.
So she had to do some, mental thing and stuff like that. So
culture change drive.
So sometimes it's not white and black.
Yeah.
It's not white and black. There are things we do in this day and age which we see as wrong or right, which in that day and age it was not right, wrong or right. So at the end of the day, we as humans determine what is wrong or right.
Okay, so I'll ask you this, okay?
Yes.
What societal, what family values was instilled in you as a child that has helped you become who you are today, that you would want to take into your own family?
So
are there any?
Yes, there are a lot. I usually tell people I was a very stubborn child. I know personally. I know I was a very stubborn child, and I got into trouble a lot when I was small, and I from my young age, maybe 5, 4, there was this, I knew I was attracted to women from a very young age.
You knew what?
Attracted to women.
Okay.
So I want to give you a quick example. There was this day we went to a family gathering, stuff like that. I think they were doing my grandpa's remembrance or something like that. So there was this girl that sat and she was eating her food. So I was eating my food. So I was talking to her, I was like, what's your name? And she didn't respond. When we were younger, they used to have this attitude, there's something that they used to do, they talk to the fingers or something like that. So she was giving me this attitude. I was like, who is this? Are you alright? Which is the biological instinct of a guy. Okay, I get defensive, and
All the adrenaline start
yes,
popping up.
which is like, I want to, use that natural force which I'm born with. So I went out, I got water in a bowl, I came and put it on her and her food. So my dad, people were complaining, I went to call my dad, and my dad came back and he flogged me a lot. And I did a lot of things like that. There was a time I chased a girl from school, or something that she didn't respond, was going on. I chased her from school to her house. And her mom complained, I didn't tell my dad, and I was flogged. Okay. And things like that made me begin to understand what was right and what was wrong. So there are some values that have been instilled in me, like discipline, knowing what to do, when to do it without being told. Also knowing how to be responsible, because being responsible is a very, very important part. Being responsible to yourself and being responsible to society. Because at the end of the day, if you have certain values and you do not have certain values, it's kind of creates some form of imbalance. So there's the value of responsibility, there's the value of respect, and there's the value of discipline. So responsibility, respect, and discipline. I'll just put in those major three.
Okay, so those are the things that you went through that you would want to take into your own family.
Yes.
So let me ask Agozie. Is corporal punishment as a family value or moral code right for you? When I say corporal punishment, you're smacked at times beyond what is required. At times you're punished. As far as the person who's punishing you, you think that he or she thinks that that's the best you should get for that kind of thing that's happened. What has that done to you as an individual?
So I think, I don't know, Sha, but I believe in balance, right? There are sometimes that you flog a child so much that it doesn't look like discipline again. It becomes something else. So when it comes to that level, I don't agree with that corporal punishment. But I also know that when a child does something, there are some things that a child would do, and you would flog that child. Some number of strokes of cane, for them to know that. And not just flogging them, you also have to tell them, I'm flogging you because you did this thing, right? So flog your children when they do some things, right? But don't overdo it. Sometimes you have to. Because there are children that you can talk from today to next year and they won't listen to you. Are you
trying to say something, Tokwe?
So when I was doing my service, I did my primary assignments in a school. I was an assistant to a teacher in the nursery section. There were children in those classes that, if you like, talk. You'll be talking. That it will be like you're not even talking to a human being. But unless you smack them, that's when they'll realize that, okay, you're serious with this thing you're saying. If you do gentle parenting, so to speak, with those kind of children, you lose them. Okay. And it is whether you like it or not. It's not a case of you don't just do gentle parenting, just talk to children. No, there are times when you need to flog children.
There are times when you need to bring tough love into it.
Exactly. There are times when you need to, or to give them a kind of punishment that next time when they remember it, they won't do that thing again.
Okay, so but are you saying now that our parents of yesterday, their moral values and code that made them believe that tough discipline was necessary is not entirely correct? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Why would you say that you are a better person today because of those things you experienced?
I'm a better person, but there are also some things that it did to me, right? There are some sometimes I feel like because of the way I was punished, it's not just about flogging. There are also some kind of punishment, like for example, you do something and then maybe after being flogged, or maybe you're not even allowed to do some kind of things that you know that maybe the other children are doing them.
Some parents then, you saying you want to eat egg was a sign of greed.
Because you don't have it.
I used to have a friend who said he was flogged because when he went to buy something, he did not buy sweet or biscuit, he bought egg.
That's like he bought something big.
Do you understand? So his mother's annoyance was that your mates are buying biscuit and sweets. You with egg, long throat. You've eaten meat in your food. What you now decided to buy was egg. So for the mom, that was he didn't eat that egg. Bring the egg. So I'm saying if that's what you're, so there are some things that you're punished for that you think is the extreme. That's what you're saying.
Yes.
Now, those things, what has that done for you? Does that, are you saying that does not have a positive impact on you?
I don't think they actually do, because I think, for example, let me use myself as an example. When I was growing up, I was flogged one time because my dad assumed that I did something wrong. Right?
So they flog you in advance.
Yes, I kept on saying that I did not do it, but he did not listen. He still punished me. Do you know that growing up, because sometimes you don't know what these things do to you until you grow up and start relating with other people. You see yourself, you see that you hold back. You take in even pain and insult and abuse from people because you were not taught to actually speak up for yourself. When you did, you would be punished. When did you now start opening mouth and asking, if I talk, you talk? Do you understand what I'm saying? Even when you say it in the
most polite
way, right? There was a time I was flogged so much that I said, I don't know why they're wicked to me in this house. My dad flogged me again. Like, are you okay? Why would you? How dare you? I feel like there were times when you needed to talk to your children and not just flog them because you could flog them.
Okay.
There are times when you need to speak to your children. There are times when you need to flog them. And there are times when you cannot flog your children anymore because flogging them will not even do anything.
Give you any result.
There was a time when only my dad's flogging got to me. If you were flogging me in school, you're wasting your time. I would take 30 strokes, 40 strokes. Ode, she not shaking.
Okay, so
do you get that?
So, if you say that, I'll then ask Okmai, are we saying that punishment, corporal punishment, has been switched into, what did you call it now? Gentle parenting, and that is now playing out in the moral code and family values of today's society?
Okay, so I think first of all, personally, I would like to understand, point out the purpose of punishment. Because at the end of the day, punishment is a thing, but there's a purpose for punishment.
It's correctional.
Good. So they're just like, let me see what I can use. Just like drugs. I'm not talking of
when you say drugs, like medication
medical
or hard
drugs.
Okay.
You know, there are some medical drugs that you can use for negative things, which are medical drugs.
Mm-hmm.
Punishment has the good side and the bad side.
Exactly.
Because there are some actions that are deserving of punishment, and there are some actions that are not deserving of punishment. And I think when it comes to parenting, we can say that in the old days, in the past, punishment has been abused. And you can say it has been abused due to different factors. Maybe, the time in which they lived, we had a lot of, they were coming from colonization down to military rule. So it was more like a thing, somebody in Abuja, or I think it was Lagos then, somebody in Lagos would just, say that the soldiers would just come to the street and beat everyone. So, it was like a thing. They beat your daddy on the road, he comes and he beats you. Do you get what I'm saying? So, I think why we are beginning to see change is because of the day and time we live. Things like democracy, access to education, exposure, which gives people a different level of reasoning.
But there was a level of democracy in the early days now.
Yes, like I said, it's where they were coming from. So, over time, things change. It's not just going to change all of a sudden. We have some people now that when they talk, there are people that I talk to in the older generation, and when they say something, they're like, I understand because of, where you're coming from. Because when we talk of things like tribalism and stuff like that, I cannot be tribalistic now because I went to school with people from different tribes. Primary school, secondary school, university school, people from different tribes. So when somebody is telling me that somebody from this tribe is there, I'm like, are you okay? So we have to understand where they're coming from and how they reasoned. Because your environment determines your reasoning. the environment. So in this day and age, there's a lot of difference because of exposure and current level of reasoning. So if you are there's a way you would handle a child now, and even they don't even need to call them. Even people, there was where I was living before, the house opposite our house, there was this girl that I think she was their maid or something like that. So when it was in the night, maybe 10:30 or so, you see the girl washing plates, doing stuff, and she doesn't go inside. She sits on the staircase outside. So I used to tell my mom. So one day when the madam of that house came outside, we were waiting for her. We just started shouting like, "Why would you do this thing?" The next week they went to, there's the fence.
Cuddle the place.
But because we're living upstairs, they now went to put metal barriers, raised it up and
So you
covered,
can't see.
so we cannot see what's going on inside their compound. So in that time, it could have been a normal thing. They would be like, okay, she's their maid or she's their child, That's how but now, if you do something like that, even even society would criticize you for doing something like that. So I feel like the difference we see in this day and age is not really about the intent or intention to change, but exposure and collective rejection. So a lot of people do not do that again nowadays because we're now exposed. We have seen that even with all the beating, it doesn't do much. Okay. So, but I'm not saying I'm not saying there's like the total change. There's still room for some form of discipline,
But that corporal punishment was just one aspect of family values. So let me switch it a bit. So back then they used to say, oh, you can't be given something and you don't say thank you.
Yes.
You can't show that you're not contented with what you have. Then it was the communal training of the child. You do something, your dad's friend scolds you or even spanks you, smacks you. You do something, even in the face me I face you experience that people had. You can't you can't dare as a 13-year-old child or a 15-year-old child as a girl then to stand on the road and be talking to a boy and your neighbors are looking at you. You won't dare it. Right?
Yes.
But these days it happens. So is it that we have taken out that communal parenting that helped you when you were not around for people to have eyes on your children and help them to guide them to the right path? And because we say, development and involvement and exposure, I'm now taking that away. And now you now see that even when your child is misbehaving, no other person is talking to your child. Are we going to hold that on, development and exposure? Or people are just decided to pretend that what is not right is now right?
Well, I feel like then we had actions add advantages and disadvantages. When you do something, even parents could thank you that thank you saw my child today and you told me. But over time people have seen a change in that. You can beat somebody's child and they come, their parents will just there's something that happened to me like I said earlier where I didn't even beat the child. I asked the child to leave because I don't like beating people's children. Just based on what we're saying, so ask the child to leave. The mom was supposed to come and ask me why I asked that child to leave. She just came and she was shouting, "How dare you, how dare you." I'm like, what do you mean?
Yeah, but the question is why? Why has she done that?
Well, like I said, why has the mother done that?
Yes.
Why the mother has done that is because like we said, there's an erosion in family values as we have continued to develop and with technology and everything.
Therein lies my question. Are we blaming the decadness in moral and societal value on the evolution of technology and development of people?
Yes, I think that it's just like we say that some things that were happening in the past had like some kind of effect or are having some kind of effect on us now due to exposure and everything. So some parents that grew up in maybe STEM environments or when people they just beat you, they now see those things as abuse, right? They no longer see it as you're trying to correct their child. They see it as you're trying to abuse their child. So now they are trying to protect their children. it is not that they don't want their children to be good people. They feel like you beat it. They want you to even take permission from them. If you see my child doing something, don't touch them. Talk to me.
Yeah.
Right? So it's protection for the children. I don't want the way I was treated. I don't want people to treat my children
So
the
it's more
way
like
I was
trauma.
treated. That kind of thing. I don't want people to treat my children the way I was treated. Right? So it's also some of these children were in the big neighbors saying that, oh, they are correct, no, come here. Children were abused sexually. So parents are now being very careful.
Cautious.
Yes, being very cautious. They don't even want a repeat of what had happened, right?
I don't entirely agree that is, because let me
For
tell you
some,
why.
it's not like
Yes.
some of them is just parents being
Exactly,
don't do
because
this thing.
that has, as they say, the fear of man dying has not prevented war from happening. That you are afraid to die has not stopped war from happening. And if there's war, people will die.
Yes.
Right. So I think generally, I mean, and this is my opinion, that we as you said, our dear criminologist, every man, every human on earth like things easy. We are by nature, our natural inclination, adverse to change and correction. Nobody want to be. I mean, the reason they say the reason why there is crime is because there's a rule. If there was no rule, there won't be a crime.
All is fair.
So generally, we like to just be free, even in the negative. So when you see, because the reason why I'm saying this, you say, oh don't what I experienced was it was brutal, it was more of slavery, it was more of hatred, so I don't want anybody to do that to my child. Okay, the way it was done before may have been wrong. It doesn't mean that communal punishment was wrong. It is the how. But these days, a lot of us have taken the how and the what was done and threw it away, and we're now living in that society.
I believe that's
what
where
you're
the
saying,
balance comes in,
yes,
though.
what you're saying, Agoze, is as a result of experience. But I'm saying I don't think the experience is the one that is pushing you. It's because you want to live that kind of life. Because you may have experienced some level of improper punishment, but you know that punishment is right in some sense. But you have just decided to do soft parenting and speak. Like you said something, you were in a school, and you know from your experience of being in that school, there's some children that 1, 2, 3, 4 verbal correction will do. Some is one time smack, that will correct this child. Some you smack, you talk, nothing happens.
Yes.
So now for that child you smack, you talk, you need to find another value. Now, but imagine that child, that the parents are saying, don't talk to my child. If you see him doing anything, just tell me. There are some things that a child is doing that you don't require to tell somebody, or not that you don't require. So let me take that back. Not that you don't require. Okay, so let me be practical. You see a 14-year-old child smoking, and they say, don't do anything. What you can do is to take that cigarette and throw it. But the parents have said, no, don't do anything. Just tell me. In your process of telling that child, he has finished smoking that cigarette.
Yes.
So, what have you achieved?
So I think my based on what you said now, I think we have to understand that when we're talking of values and systems, there are norms. Okay, there are norms, and norms might not be criminal, but norms are collective agreement. We have to agree that this thing is normal.
Yeah.
Just like
Normalize
an example
it.
of what I said earlier, that we're normalizing
Yes.
some things. So I think regarding the change, it is a change in the system, change of values. When people agree now, like we said then, it was a communal thing. Everybody knows you can punish. But when they've punished one person here and one parent has complained and like that, we also consciously
Pull away from it.
create a new norm.
Yes.
So the change now becomes a new norm. It doesn't have to be a written code or a written law, but we also consciously know that you do not correct. Because you remember, when you want to correct, you remember that woman that corrected someone's child last week, the way they were, I don't want anyone to shout at me, please, so I don't want issues. So over time, with the change, it has now become a norm. So everybody now knows that, you know what, just mind your business.
And in the next few years, there will also be a new norm. That's just life.
I'm saying this repeatedly because why is that parent
deciding that, oh, because my mother flogged me extensively, my child should be free. Nobody should flog my child at all. Is it a decision because you were flogged badly? Because lived experiences will affect you, I agree, right? But you need to be, you're an adult now, so you should be able to balance whether, is it that they should not be flogged at all? Or I need to understand that I was flogged in a very improper way, but it doesn't mean that flogging is bad. But when I now just take that idea that flogging is bad and heap on my children and nobody can correct them, then that becomes a complete 360 switch to your moral values, and that is going to affect the child. Whether you see it as negative or positive is entirely your lifestyle. What I'm driving at is this. We need to understand what is driving that parent to take that decision to say, I don't have a problem with you correcting my child, I'll be honest with you. I only have a problem with how you're doing it, right? But you correcting my child, if he might just smack him once, I mean, it depends on what he has done. If my child walk past you and he doesn't greet, and you pull him by the ear, come back, stand here and greet. But there's some people that will tell you that no. Why should they greet you?
That greeting is not a must.
They'll tell you salutation is not love. But they forget, or at least I think that those things are what molds you. You understand that there's seniority. And you know the funny thing, we all preach this gospel of, oh, there's not. Meanwhile, you go into your office, even the offices that say call by first name, you still know that this person is a senior colleague. You still accord some unwritten respect. Even though when you're calling, oh, Okwe, how are you? Okwe is your senior in the office. You still know that some things you dare not say to Okwe. There's still that respect there. So why are you pretending like, oh, the society is now free, I can say anything I want to say? It's not true. So when you decide as a parent to take that moral code away from saying, okay, nobody should punish my child, what you're going to reap in the future, I hope you're prepared for it. Because, like Agoze said, a time will come where the entire society believes in this, and we'll begin to see, it's plain, and we're seeing some things now. I'm not saying that we cannot withdraw some things. Yeah, we can take out, like you said, it's balance. Oh, this one is not really working, so let's juggle it a bit, let's mix it. But when you completely, because I've seen people where you say, don't talk to my child. If she has done something, tell me. Don't talk to that child.
You said something about what you would reap in the future, and I think one point we can get out of it is that there is no more collective responsibility in society, in the sense that we understand better now that literally every man is for himself. There was a day and time where you could be looking at your child and you say your child is somewhere, and you will be comfortable with your child.
Very true.
Good.
Very true.
But now you want to be seeing
again, now with the way society is, I feel like even the
hustle and bustle of the society.
The way the society, because you can't.
Everyone knows they're for themselves.
The way you can easily say, oh, go to this person's place, oh, go and do this that time freely, oh, go and play with these people, so you can go to this person's house, you can do this one. You cannot necessarily do it now because of how bad the society has even gotten. Do you get? There are some things you cannot do now.
Yes.
That's why I said that some of these things are just protection based. People are trying to protect their children, in as much as some of them are overdoing it. Because there are times where somebody needs to say, don't do this to your child. I've stayed in some places where I'll see children doing some things. I'm like, stop that thing, I'll flog you now. Right? The child needs to stop that thing. It's for the good of that child, whether the parents like it or not. But the point is, I can't now start beating that child. Stop doing it. It becomes over the top, right? It becomes abuse. So the point is,
sorry, my darling, even at that is even relative, because it depends on what the child is doing, right? So let me be very practical.
Okay.
As a young lady, a boy, even if he's a girl child, let me speak now as a boy child, is walking on the street and all that, and you see that boy child who is about 6, 7, a lady who's walking on the road, for saying he's his auntie and being naughty, and he decides to become naughty and be smacking his auntie on her butt repeatedly because he's crying, and the auntie is saying, come now, let me pump, so okay, sorry.
I'll beat you, me. If it were me, I'll beat you.
But his auntie is not doing anything.
That my point is that
That's-
so his
that's what
aunt
I'm
is not
saying.
doing
I said
that
that
child.
some people.
Is because the auntie has decided to pretend that
Okay, you're saying
society-
it's not me.
Yes,
Versus
yes,
auntie.
she's not the auntie now.
Yes,
It's not-
yes.
if
The
the
auntie.
auntie
Meanwhile,
does not do- it's on
before now, that will not happen. As the auntie, if the auntie, let's assume that auntie is even a 15-year-old child, and but a senior auntie that is working past will pull
Correct.
that boy back
Yes.
and help him arrange him
It's
some
the society
kind
we
of-
live in.
you know.
Let me give you a practical example. I went to do something outside of Lagos, so I had to stay with a family friend. So when I got to their house, the mom is a single mom. She has 2 kids. So because I was a guest, she wanted me to watch TV and stuff. Like, do you know the way you are trying to engage? So she was like, take the remote, stuff like that. And both just started crying. And being a guest, me that I know that I just get to sleep. I want to compose myself.
Yeah.
I'm like, leave him or something. She's like, this boy went to ice. He put up the TV. He went to ice the remote and he said, this night nobody is watching TV. So I was just there like, okay, what's going on here? Because I know in my house you dare not. So the mom was like, me, I know what I came for.
Yeah, so you just
obviously that's
kept
not
your
my
cool.
business. So I was just watching, and the boy, he kept the remote. He went to sleep, and all of us had to go to bed that night because his 7-year-old, or I think it was 6-year-old. A 6-year-old boy said, "Everybody's going to bed now." So in that kind of situation, that's their family value.
And that's because they've been tolerating him to be the one in charge of the remote in the house. Like you said, at 7. How dare you decide what we watch?
What?
Do you understand? So you come in now, you're taking his place, and he's wondering, who the hell is this person?
Exactly.
How do you take my place? And you see, to tell you that his mom has allowed, the mom could not even caution him to stop that, to even go and bring the remote. That means he's the don in the house at 7. What decision can that boy make at 7? But you have left him to do some kind of things that are not, in my opinion, that are not right. How do you say you have do you know what it means for you to be growing up and you have a guest in the house and you decide by your own action that the guest is not going to be comfortable at 7? So the moral values of society that we have, like I said, the family is the bedrock of the larger society.
Yeah.
So what you do in the family affects what happens in the society. Now that child that has determined that a visitor in the family will go to bed early and unhappy by way of not watching TV because of he seized the remote because he was told to hand the remote over to the visitor. If he continues like that, let's not be ashamed or be mindful with words. If he continues like that, how would he end up? What will that do to the society?
That's why I said earlier that society now, we see society as less of collective responsibility because we know it's going to end up whatever or anything. But we see it as that's
It's
my
not my
problem.
business, it's your business.
It's your
If you can't
family
raise your
problem.
child well, then
if your
it's on
child
you.
whatever, just keep your shit to yourself.
And that's because that's what we want to tell ourselves. Because you forget that your own child is going to be in the same society with that
That's
child.
I relate to that
Sure.
child.
And you're there saying, oh, it's not your business. Your child is going to get married. Your child is going to work with people. Your child is going to give contract to people. Your child is going to own company. And that child is likely to fall in any of these places.
True.
For your own child who you are. So if you say, and the funny thing, we say dress the way you want to be addressed. Treat others the way you want to be treated. Nobody likes to be treated as a nobody. We all like respect. But when you clearly see that your child is being disrespectful and you condole that child, what are you expecting? I've been in a situation where I can't remember, he cannot be less than 9 or 10. And he says, this auntie is so ugly. And the mom says, you talk too much. You may not have spanked or smacked, whichever word you choose to use. Before I go and use something that is interpreted in the wrong way, you may not have smacked the child, but you should insist that that child immediately apologize to that person. Immediately. Whether she's ugly or not,
It does not matter.
it's not
Very
your okay. So you were not even having a conversation with her. What do you mean by this auntie is so ugly? What is your definition of ugly? And what gave you the courage to speak up where you were not in the conversation?
It's new age.
So for him to be let off the hook just like that and say, keep quiet, you talk too much, it means conversations that he should not be hearing, he's hearing them.
and the things you should correct him from, you see, like somebody said, a lot of us are so focused on, I want a better life for my child, I want a better life for my child, without even giving him the foundation for a better life. Imagine that child now, this auntie is so ugly, is now a friend to the one that sees remote. What happens when they are in company of each other?
Chaos.
I'm not saying that some of those things we cannot rejig and say, oh no, this was too much, really, this is way out there. Okay, so let's imagine that child that sees the remote now, the mom brings him out and starts flogging him uncontrollably, punishing him, he doesn't eat that night, or this one that says this auntie is so ugly, you beat hell out of him, that's too much, right? But there must be a level of punishment. Definitely. Even you till today, you're still being punished. We all work, we all find from some, even when you work in your office, there's some level of punishment, because punishment is correctional. Yeah. It's correctional. It's not meant to destroy you, it's meant to correct you. Haven't you been in corporate environment where they say, man, this guy shouldn't be the one making this mistake? Unfortunately, he has to go. You know why? He's one of the good guys, but unfortunately he has to go. You know why? Because if he doesn't go, you have compromised the system and you have dropped values.
Yes.
And I've just said something. If you don't start from day one, start putting those moral values and codes on these children, a larger society they will come into. Our parents did not know where we'll be tomorrow, but they gave us foundations that will help us be where we are today. The reason why you can walk up to someone, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to do this, because somebody has told you that when you do something wrong, admit that is wrong. The reason why you say, well, it was my mistake, man, I'll take it, is because you've been told that you've got to be responsible for your actions. But when you now have a society that believes that, no, what you need to do, you need to find a soft landing for these children so that they can, there's nothing wrong with you explaining to the child that, this is why we're doing this. Like somebody, I think our producer was saying, they tell you to come in, you don't ask why. They are my dear producer, there are places you cannot ask why. Why don't you ask why when they are shooting gun and your parents tell you to come in? Are you going to be asking why? You are in the family house in the balcony and you are seeing straight bullets everywhere. Your parents are shouting, come in. You want to stand and ask them why? So we are not saying, for clarity, we're not saying that some of these moral values of the past are wrong. We're not saying all of them are right, but we're saying whatever you're doing, you've got to balance it. Yes. So you cannot tell me that, like you said, I think it was you that said something about when we're discussing off camera about a man before that takes 10 wives. If he does it now, no matter how rich you are, you'll be looked at, man. What is like this? Crazy person. I mean, exactly. Really, what is this? What are you doing? What really? Even as at today, no matter how rich you are, we people still frown at, why would you have 10 cars in your house, for Christ's sake? This is not affluence. This is just you not showing level of control. You're not. I mean, you can have all the money that can afford these things, but you're not just. You don't have the proper values, because the things you do as an individual, whether you like it or not, reflects on somebody. It reflects on somebody. Now that person takes those things and also begin to spread them. So the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I've seen that in the recent times we have some things that we say as normal, and you hear, let's normalize it, and some things that our parents would have frowned at, but yet now it's been accepted as normal. Some of them are proper by my standards, some of them are causing problems for us, problems that we don't even know the answers to those problems. We know where we are as a country, we know our current situation. It's because some people have changed moral values and have switched to something else. Whether we like it or not, these things have a way of affecting us directly or indirectly. You heard what you said, that you went to bring water and poured on somebody's head, but you know what you got now. You know what you got. So, like Agoze said, she was flogged for something they assumed she did. So for Agoze, I'm not saying I won't flog you, but what I got was too much, so I'm not going to go that route. But I'm saying there's some people that are saying, don't flog, don't touch.
Some people don't believe in flogging.
Do you know this thing you said now? There was this students in school then. So a girl, she was my senior. There was a time when the parents came to school. We were brothers, and she didn't know the parents were coming around. She was not in school. She went to party.
Brother.
Yeah.
Secondary school.
She went to party. Then the dad, very strict. Even if you see him,
You would know.
Your papa na soldier.
So when she came back and she was told that your
Parents were
dad,
here.
she was scared. But the point is, she knew the kind of parents she had. They must have flogged her many times, but she still went out. So sometimes the flogging does not even work on some of these people. Do you understand? So that's why some people don't believe in flogging. Maybe they are even one of those people that were flogged and nothing came. Do you understand? And nothing came out of it.
So because the idea of flogging is to correct.
Yes.
So if you have flogged this our party's friend now, and yet she's still going to party, mean that's your flogging did not work anything. That's what it means now.
Yes,
but
now it
I
is.
Yeah, because she still went for the party. She's just afraid of the punishment that will come. But what that punishment was supposed to do was to stop her from going for that party.
To correct
and all
it.
that. To correct
So,
Yes.
so I like to use myself as an example, and I feel like there are some things that flogging did for me, but majority of it was not by flogging. It was by being shown an example. So when
What you see is what you
when
get.
I finished secondary school, I had a lot of friends that used to go to parties, but when my dad used to take me to school every day, there's a program he listens to. I don't remember the program on radio. There's one man that used to talk like this on radio, and the man used to he does something like he talks about actions and consequences.
Okay.
So I remember there's one thing that the man said then, and I never forgot. He said, "People say money does not buy happiness, but at least you get to sleep in a comfortable bed." So there are different things like that the man used to say. And it used to make me wonder as a child, so if I do this, I get this. If I do that, I get that. So it was not a question of my parents being there or not. I understood.
You understood.
Whatever action I took, there were certain consequences I would face at certain times.
Yes.
I might not face the repercussion now,
No.
but I knew that there was a result for it. So I feel like before you flog a child, you have to understand the reasoning behind why the child has taken certain actions. Because the child might. Okay, let me give an example. There was a time as I was growing older when I was because I have a mature look, and I finished secondary school early, so most people did not know my age, my real age. So there was this lady that I used to talk to then. She was 24, I was 17 or 16. So she used to talk then, and she used to be like, there's a time she told me let's go somewhere, that kind of stuff like that. I was thinking about it, and the thing that deterred me then was not fear of being flogged. It was I knew that if I did that, something might happen. Was I ready to face the consequences of such actions? Which was why I did not do it. So as much as there's room of flogging a child, you also have to build their reasoning. You also have to show them examples by letting them know that this is right, this is wrong, this is right, this is wrong. You cannot be going to parties every weekend and your child goes to school and you're flogging your child for going to party.
You just said this.
Bro,
Well, I feel like some parents are fixated on flogging their children, correcting, and then their lifestyle, they themselves.
It's different from what you want your child to do.
You cannot be telling your child to do A and you're doing B. Most times, children learn from
what they see.
Generally,
I think generally we all learn from what we see. I mean, I used to punish my children, but some I just sat. I said, okay, so really, let's analyze this. Why are you punishing them? I was speaking to myself. You're punishing them because you don't want them to do this thing. If there was another way of you not wanting to do this thing, would you rather take that option? And I thought to myself, yes. What are the other options? You need to balance what you're giving out to them now. You need to live the life you want them to live. Do the things you want them to do. Punish them when it's necessary, but speak more with the intent to make them understand so they decide what to do. Consequence comes from action. Every action you take has consequence.
good or bad.
Good or bad. So you choose to, and you have to be responsible for the consequences of your action.
Yes.
You cannot do something and want somebody else to take responsibility of it. So
In recent times, I'll ask, this thing you've done now, let me understand why you did it. Tell me the why.
Yes.
So when they say the why, at times I'll be honest with you, it's not an easy, and that's why they say parenting is not it's not for the faint-hearted.
And you were saying
It's
something
They might not even know they did something wrong.
Again, there's something you said about people want the easier way. Do you know for some of our parents, flogging was easier?
Yes, for them.
Yes,
You know why? Yes,
yes. You do something and then they flog you.
So
punish you.
yes, let me give an
Coming
example.
to trying to talk
To
to you,
you,
and
they
it's
don't believe.
hard.
Okay, so how many of us? I mean, in fact, all of us here, did our parents call to say, "Let me use it because you people were your gender was the problem."
Yes.
You follow up by your reason, you become pregnant. Did they even tell you what you need to do to become pregnant? They will just say, if it touches you, you are pregnant.
Exactly.
Do you understand? So, did they explain that these are the issue is not that you become pregnant, it's the consequences of what that pregnancy will do to you now, next year, and your future. So, we've got to be able to balance those things out, balance it out where the child, because the truth is, these children are not stupid. They just have a very open mind that if you speak into
and well directed,
they will understand.
Yes.
Make the child understand that. Yeah, you were going to say something.
I was going to say that, just like we see in the foreign climb now, I think not everybody has that. I'm someone that I'm very open for individual preference. I see people that maybe if a lady comes online and say, I don't want to get married, people are criticizing that. And I'm surprised. Like, bro, this person is making everybody's life easier. She said she doesn't want this. So I feel like in the aspect of children, not everybody has the mental capacity and the desire. Some people have children out of, everybody's having children. Let's have children. Some people have children out of, they just add a child.
There's something I always say that so if you are planning to have children, if you are saying that you have children, make sure that you're ready to have children. You cannot just bring children into this world and then train them anyhow and then they grow and cause nuisance in the society.
So I feel like
you have to have the time, the energy, the mental capacity. Don't have children because I'm married. The next thing is for me to have children.
It goes back to what we were saying earlier, where a man marries a lot of wives, and some of the children these men were having, it's not because they wanted children. It is to fulfill responsibility. To that you have this child to okay, this you are in charge of that farm, you are in charge of that farm, So it was not like they cared much about.
Exactly. Sometimes it was even because children. When you have a large family, you are respected. This man is rich.
He has children there. He has
20 children.
So it boils down now to do you understand the responsibility that comes with having a child, and are you willing to take that responsibility?
And ready.
So a lot of parents these days, they just have children out of vibes and inshallah,
Okay. So which brings us back to where we started from: societal, moral codes and value. What is the norm? What is the normal? So whatever it is you decide, know that it is not just about you anymore. It is a societal thing. Our moral values and ethics as families, as souls. Let's even start. Your personal moral values becomes what works around your family. Your family moral values dovetails into the society. Yeah. So whatever you're switching on your switchboard, that you're dumping from the old societal values and picking up new ones, just know that what you're switching on that board, there will be people, decisions, and ripple effects. So when you switch the board, whether good or bad, there will be consequences. So for us, what we finally conclude there is we're not saying that the old style of parenting or moral values is wrong. We're saying have a blend, balance it with what we currently have, so that you can have a better society. So that tomorrow we will not say that as a society we do not have a proper moral value. What we are saying is, if corporal punishment will work for A, it doesn't mean it will work for B. If he's going to smack somebody, smack with the sole intention of correcting and explain why that is happening. Like Okpe said, if I understand the consequences of my action, I probably will think twice before I carry the action. And like Agosia said, look, I'm not saying don't flog, but don't just flog me because you enjoy flogging. And there's no easy way out about parenting, also building a societal value or moral codes. It's an intentional act. We must invest in it. So whether you switch now or you switch later, just know that there will be decision, people, and ripple effects. See you on the next episode.